So the bells of celebration are ringing again in the Catholic Archdiocese of Abuja, and this time around we are glad to celebrate very proudly a prince of the church and our father, a very iconic personality, super gifted, intelligent church father, and indeed a model not just for the young people but even for the elderly, and a very outstanding and outspoken clergyman who has been so blessed and really graced by God himself. John Cardinal Onaiyekan is 40 years a bishop, and it is cause for joy and gladness. The Presbyterium, as well as the religious and the laity of the Catholic Archdiocese of Abuja, therefore, are rolling out drums to celebrate our own father for his great works, life, and legacies, still living and still building upon existing ones as well. But while we celebrate him, it is just pertinent that let us look at his life and see who really this man is. And one of the propelling questions that will guide us, therefore, is simply to ask, who is John Cardinal Onaiyekan? His Eminence John Cardinal Onaiyekan was born on January 29, 1944 in Kaba, Kogi State of Nigeria. A very gifted and intelligent man from his early days and childhood at a tender age. He began his primary education from 1949 to 1956. And this he did at his hometown in Kaba. Kaba is in Kogi State of Nigeria. His academic prowess and this great gift got heightened at Mount St. Michael's Secondary School, Aliede, Benue State, Nigeria, between 1957 through to 1962. Here, he had excellence and, of course, distinctions in his senior school certificate examinations, what we summarily want to call SSCE. A record till this very day, I want to emphasize and say, has not yet been broken in that school. The priestly formation of His Eminence John Cardinal Onaiyekan commenced in January of 1963 down to June 1965, with studies in philosophy at the prestigious St. Peter and Paul Major Seminary, Bodija, Ibadan, Oyo State of Nigeria. And from September of 1965 down to June of 1969, he studied sacred theology at the Pontifical Urban College of Propaganda Fide, Rome. Cardinal Onaiyekan's early priestly life began with his ordination to the Catholic priesthood at his hometown in Kaba on 3rd August 1969. He was ordained in his place, and you can imagine at that early stage to encourage also vocations to the priesthood as well and the religious life. Following his ordination on 3rd August 1969 into the sacred priesthood, he got his first primary assignment to become a teacher, and he taught at St. Kizito's College, Ishanlu, before proceeding for studies in sacred scripture at the Pontifical Biblical Institute, that is Biblicum, Rome, in September of 1971. This he completed with his licentiate degree program in sacred scripture in February of 1973. Between 1973 and January of 1976, John Cardinal Onaiyekan had obtained a doctorate degree again at the Pontifical Urban University, again in Rome, this time around in same biblical theology, with full distinction. Let us emphasize that, full distinction. So you see, the life of this man, excellently, we can just say, is just been full of distinctions, both in personality, both in character, in candor, in courage. And of course, he's simply blessed and such an amazing churchman and a human being that we walk this earth with. We are so privileged and blessed, if you ask me. From that very moment, divine providence has just simply designed and plotted the excellent graph for Cardinal Onaiyekan's steady rise on the ladder of ecclesiastical leadership and prominence. On his return from Rome in January of 1966, he was made the rector of St. Clement's Junior Seminary, Lokoja, Kogi State, where he served until August of 1977. Now, in September of 1977, Cardinal Onaiyekan was appointed vice rector of the major seminary of St. Peter and Paul, Bodija, Ibadan. This is more of a homecoming for him because this was where he began his priestly formation and journey. And here, while serving as vice rector, he taught sacred scripture as well as fundamental theology. Cardinal Onaiyekan became the rector of the same seminary in February of 1978. From vice rector, he ascended to the office of the rector. Now, in November of 1982, and at the age of 38, the great and iconic Pope St. John Paul II appointed His Eminence John Cardinal Onaiyekan then as the auxiliary bishop of Ilorin and ordained him in St. Peter's Basilica, Rome. That was January 6th of 1983. By this appointment and his episcopal consecration or ordination, he thus became the second youngest bishop in Nigeria as at that time, after Cardinal Francis Arinze. October 1984. Cardinal John was appointed residential bishop of Ilorin in 1984, and 6 years later, the same Pope John Paul II will appoint John Cardinal Onaiyekan as the coadjutor bishop of the newly created Federal Capital Territory of Abuja, Nigeria, in July 1990. Now, as the coadjutor bishop of Abuja, Cardinal Onaiyekan remained the apostolic administrator of Ilorin Diocese until 1992, when he became the Bishop of Abuja following the retirement of his great predecessor, Dominic Cardinal Ekandem. 2 years later, in March of 1994, John Cardinal Onaiyekan will become an archbishop following the erection and elevation of the then Abuja Diocese into an archdiocese, and Cardinal Onaiyekan will become its first archbishop. Being the Metropolitan Archbishop of Abuja, he welcomed the saintly Pope John Paul II on his apostolic visit to Nigeria in 1998 and remained a key proponent and a central figure and actor in the cause for the beatification of Blessed Michael Cyprian Iwedetansi. In the consistory of November 24th, 2012, he was created and proclaimed cardinal by Pope Benedict XVI. May his soul and the souls of all the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. The Pope who made him a cardinal had just passed on at the age of 95. That is Pope Benedict XVI, our Pope Emeritus. His Eminence participated in the conclave of March 2013, which erected and elected Pope Francis. His Eminence is a member of the highest-ranking Vatican Sacred Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith and the Discipline of the Sacrament, and the Pontifical Council for the Family. John Cardinal Onaiyekan has served in different capacities in the ecclesiastical ladder and church hierarchy. A quick look at very few of them and how remarkably he has served and continues to serve. Between 1980 to 1985, he was a member of the International Theological Commission. Great. And between 1981 to 1991, His Eminence was a member of the Methodist and Roman Catholic International Dialogue Commission. He was member many times of the Council of the General Secretariat of the Synod of Bishops in the Vatican. March 1991 to June of 2006, he was a member, Standing Committee of the Faith and Other Commission of the World Council of Churches. Following his creation as Cardinal on November 24th of 2012, From 2013 till date, Cardinal Onaiyekan took possession of his titular church of San Saturnino in Rome as the cardinal priest of the church. From 2013 to date as well, he served and is still serving at the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith and the Congregation for Divine Worship and Discipline of the Sacraments. Notably back home, Cardinal Onaiyekan has served as president of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria from March of 1999 to March of 2006. In the same vein, he had served as president, Association of Episcopal Conferences of Anglophone West Africa, ECAWA. He served from August of 2001 to August of 2004. In the same vein, he has served as president, Symposium of Episcopal Conferences of Africa and Madagascar. That is second, from October 2004 to January 2017. Served as member of the Interreligious Council, NIREC, the Nigerian Interreligious Council, that is NIREC, from 1999 till date. He was vice president of the Christian Association of Nigeria from 1996 to 2003. June 2007 till June of 2010, he got elected as president of the Christian Association of Nigeria. Beloved, His Eminence became the co-chair of the Nigerian Interreligious Council, NIREC, from 2007 to 2010, and got elected as the co-chair, African Council of Religious Leaders, from June of 2003 till August of 2019. His Eminence again was elected moderator of the World Conference of Religions for Peace from 2012 to August of 2019. He got elected with the honorary president, World Council of Religions for Peace from August 2019 till date. Because of his numerous service to humanity and to the church, and everywhere he goes, His Eminence is not just an advocate of justice, but he lives it out himself. And he is a promoter of peace at all levels and interreligious dialogue. For this, he had got a lot of awards and recognitions. Just a few of them are handy for our commendations and referencing or mention, worthy of mention here. Therefore, the fact that in December, precisely 18th, 2001, His Eminence was conferred with the national honor of the Commander of the Order of Niger, CON, by the then Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo Aremu Matthew. He also received Grand Officiale First Class Ordine della Stella della Solidarietà Italiana. His Eminence also got the first class honorary recognition from the President of Italy, then Carlo Cialupi. That was in October 2012. In October 2012, Pax Christi International gave him a Peace Award in Brussels, and in that same year, His Eminence was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize in recognition of his works in promoting religious harmony and peaceful collaboration and justice in Africa and around the world. He has written great works, and summarily, amongst His Eminence's published works are materials on church and state relationship, interfaith dialogue in Africa and Nigeria, theology and praxis, and fundamentals of biblical theology, the great work of his Seeking Common Grounds, interreligious dialogue in Africa, etc., etc. There's so many of them. He has also strong traits in social activism. Dear friends, permit me to say at this juncture that in His Eminence we see the incarnation of two personalities: the courageous and austere lifestyle of St. John the Baptist as well as the sublime theological countenance of St. John the Evangelist. And these qualities have made him both as a radical but yet a gentle churchman. And that is the man we celebrate his episcopacy at 40. To God alone be all the glory. Congratulations, Your Eminence, and you, dear viewers. What is your comment about this? Let us know what you think about His Eminence. Say a word about him, say a prayer for him, and wish him well. Just share this. Let others have a feel of the great life of this man, and maybe they'll learn something from there and help to transform the world around them as well. God bless you, and God keep you safe. Happy New Year.